Alright, so midway through, we got the plenum unhooked. There's this strange, and if you're out there and, oh, now I've started to bleed. Look at it. Literally bleeding to fix the Fiat. Blood, sweat, and tears. I've cried enough already. Parts. Great Midwest Bayless in Columbus. We got 4 brand new fuel injectors, which is, you know, chances are those things are pretty gummed up and we'd probably want to replace them anyways. So since we can't get it started, we're gonna, the timing looks okay, I'm gonna go on to plan B, which is start replacing stuff. Look at it, it's like Christmas morning. Oh, look at that, they gave us a cute little air freshener. A great list of all the stuff. Right here. Seems heavy. US Bayless. Brake master cylinder. You know what? I'm all for the unboxing videos, but I'm just gonna open this stuff up. See you on the other side. Got some relays. Got an oxygen sensor. I don't think we'll need it, but just in case. 4 brand new fuel injectors. Those are pretty slick. Hose kit for old hoses. Trunk release cable because the trunk release cable is broken. Brake pads. Got your rotors in there. And more stuff. We got a. Oh, I think I showed you that already. Brake master cylinder. Here. This is the. Oh, this is probably the master sensor, I'm guessing. We'll open that up and see. Oh, and then we got another magnet. Goodies. More hose clamps. Oh, there's the clutch slave cylinder.
This is slave cylinder?
I bought both of them. And then the airflow meter. Airflow meter from fuel injection. Yeah. I think that's it. What's that?
No, just it's not
the same?
like I'm used to.
Oh, yeah.
A little flap here.
Yeah.
Hard, which I'm not used to seeing, but I'm not really up on archaic fuel injection. Is not my thing.
Not your forte?
So, now we're going to change the fuel injectors?
Yeah, let's do it. Alright, so we're going to try to replace fuel injectors. It seems like we got to take off a bunch of stuff. We're going to depressurize the system, is that correct?
Yeah.
How are we going to do that?
Well, basically, I unplugged the fuel pump.
Oh,
right?
there you go.
So I want you to go in the car and crank it for a few cycles.
Okay.
And that should, hold that?
Yeah, sure.
And that should depressurize it.
Ready?
Yep. Okay. That should be good.
Just because the fuel's built up in there still?
Yeah, you want to push fuel through, you're not pumping any more fuel.
Right.
You want to get the fuel that's in there out.
Yeah.
So,
Gotcha.
it looks like to do this, we got to take out 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts down here, and then I don't know. We're going to find out.
Okay.
But the fuel injectors are right here. 1, 2.
Right down in there?
Yep. 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yep.
So this
we got to take this whole plenum off.
Plenum has to come off.
Fuel injection system.
And while we're down there, you might as well take this off, whatever the hell this used to be.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
I think maybe the original exhaust?
No, it can't be. No. It's not
I don't know what it is
It's
either.
not connected to anything.
That's what's so weird.
We're going to get rid of that too.
Yep. Yeah, there's like a, you can see it, there's a little
We're going to find out what it is when we take this off.
round cylinder down in there. And just a big gaping hole for some reason.
Yeah, it looks like it. I don't know.
par for the course. All right, let's do it. So like Scott said, it was basically only 4 little bolts and then some vacuum lines and other things that we'll go over. But, you know, the funny thing about, you know, they call it turning wrenches for a reason. You get a lot of pointing, a lot of turning wrenches watching these time lapses. And it's funny how just the difference between Scott and I, how much quicker he was with operating the tools. Like, I'm sure I use a paintbrush faster than he does, but, you know, no substitute for experience there. Alright, so midway through, we got the plenum unhooked. There's this strange, and if you're out there and, oh, now I've started to bleed. Look at it. Literally bleeding to fix the Fiat. Blood, sweat, and tears. I've cried enough already. There's this strange, if you're a Fiat person, strange little, now where did that thing go? Oh, did you?
I didn't.
Oh, it's just on the threads.
Yeah.
There's this exhaust thing going down here, and it looks like it hooks in. You're not gonna be able to see this at all. To another one down there. I'm missing a tube or something. But anyways, we got the plenum unhooked, throttle, and now we just have some hoses and some other fuel injection stuff we gotta sort of take off there. But we're gonna take a little break, eat some great food, making great progress, and change those fuel injectors. And maybe it's just dirty fuel injectors, you know? Who knows? Very well could be. So take a break and come back before you know it using movie magic. Okay, so we took the rest of the vacuum hoses off and what we think is the lambda or oxygen sensor there. And then the fuel injectors are all sort of screwed in with, I'm going to get my terminology wrong here, but like a housing or you know, something that kind of attaches them to the rest of the motor. So each one of those is 2 little screws. We're taking those out, and then we're just sort of, you know, as we'll get into, we sort of ran into a little problem that we solved the next day. So we're just tinkering around. Now, thank you so much for everybody who's commented on this. It really, you know, I'm actually bowled over with how much response this has gotten, and we're janky, so we're kind of flying by the seat of their pants. I know next to nothing about cars, so, you know, forgive my ignorance, and thanks so much for all your comments. But we'll get to the next part here shortly, but just disassembling everything. Welcome back to Janky AF. Today we got oh, actually the rain stopped. It was raining on my whole way up. A little bit of a cooler day. We had some good progress yesterday. And then we ran into a little issue with the fuel injectors. Yeah, the stove's going, ain't that nice? All right. So we took off the plenum here and disconnected a couple things. This engine is actually fairly simple, especially by modern standards. It's kind of the perfect balance, honestly, between modern stuff, fuel injection and all that, but doesn't have a lot of the crazy newfangled computer systems that just make it impossible to, you know, work on a lot of modern cars without a lot of, you know, dealership tools and all that, diagnostics and yada yada yada. So you can see we have our 4 fuel injectors right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you for the light. And yesterday we kind of ran into a problem because the fuel injector here just has this hose that comes off of it, and these older ones, now when we thought this was a crimp, but then we went on the great forums, and the Fiat forums, XWeb forum, can't say enough. They're so quick to respond to whenever you have a question. And Scott has gotten one of these new ones on right here, and you can see there's just a hose clamp. And what was your process there? You were able to
just cut it away and kind of bend it off. What you do is just kind of nick away at this area right here.
Yep.
And then just
so is there some
side
when
cutters
it pulls,
like these?
when it pulls off, is there actually something out? There's still some metal to put the
yeah.
hose over.
Yep. There's
Okay.
a barb there. Yep.
Okay, so you still have space there. It's just a little. What is a barb now? Is that just
Barb is just a
end of a?
It's just it's an expanding pipe that when you put it on, it can't come off.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So that allows us to still get the hose over there, the new hose. Now, did you have to cut the hose of the new
Yes,
fuel
I did,
injector?
yep.
You got to trim
And
that.
This is
That's
this
how
is
much
this
came
is
off.
our, yeah.
Okay,
So
so
we're gonna use this as a
Yep.
gauge for
Yep.
all of our next injectors.
we got our little template there.
Yep.
And then there's just a couple pieces of, here's your new injector, obviously, and then there's just a couple of pieces of metal hardware. Basically these two things that are able to screw together to get it onto the, well, that would be your.
Oop, this is leaking again.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Not a big deal. It's just
Okay. And then you have some O-rings that you have to fit on, just a couple little pieces of metal hardware there, but I think it's going to be a pretty simple process overall. So we're going to do the other three, and then I would imagine we'll put it back together and see if that makes a difference in trying to start it.
Absolutely. Yep.
So there we go. Got the day's work ahead of us. We're going to get started. Janky, do Thanky. Okay, so this will be slightly out of order, but as you can see, we got a little glass can there to catch all the gas because there was some gas still in the fuel rail there. So that's definitely a good idea if you're going to be doing this. Make sure you try to catch as much as you can. It's a little bit of a messy process. Have some paper towels ready. We're using gloves. So this is us. We sort of installed the new injector right after we took the old one off. But I will back up and show you that process just a little bit. And basically it's just getting these O-rings on the fuel injector, which is real tough because it's a super tough fit and you got to get it inside the little metal ring that attaches to the rest of the motor there. But you don't really know whether to try to get the O-ring into the metal thing first or try to get the metal thing on first, then squeeze the O-ring into it. It's a tight squeeze, but that's a good thing because it means it's going to be tight. No fuel's going to be leaking out. So pretty simple process. Cut the tube off, pry it off, let the gas come out, patch it up, and then put your new fuel injector together with your O-rings and then just screw it back on. It was a pretty straightforward process, and then just slowly tighten them all down. And just make sure you have your, okay, so now here we're cutting the hose, and we just made a little template with the first one Scott did with some great white out there. Mark your line, all real professional. Now this, putting it on the vise there, and using a hacksaw. It's not a perfect cut, but it's gonna go on that barb and have the hose clamp on it after that. So just trying to be consistent. Now here is, see this little ring, and make sure that metal ring is facing the right way too, obviously, because if not it's going to go on there all weird. So you have to slip the O-ring on. Small little O-ring goes on the actual tip of the injector there. That happened real quick. And the larger O-ring, and make sure you buy new O-rings if you get new fuel injectors, because you don't want to put old O-rings on there. It's pretty simple. And again, shout out to Midwest Bayless in Columbus, Ohio. Has all the parts. Let you know shortly.
got it.
Yeah, now it's just a question if I can get this thing back on there. Oh yeah. Yeah, once it gets in that ring, it has way more space. Okay, spins. Nice. Alright, now put it back in.
Yeah. The only thing is I turn this, just for continuity's sake, I turn this around. So we go here, here. That should be on there. Close enough for comfort.
Yeah.
Tighten that down.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm loosening it.
Yep.
All the way up on there. Okay. In the right angle. Approximately. Alright, so we managed to get all 4 fuel injectors in. 1, 2, 3, 4. But we may not have cut this hose, which hopefully you'll see previously in the video, short enough, because when we put the plenum on here, air intake, we just tried to flip it over and put it on, and the hoses kind of get pinched, so they almost make like a little 90-degree kink in there, which is probably not good for fuel delivery. No. So we might have to, I don't think we're going to have to, because these is kind of a complicated, not complicated, but just kind of labor intensive to get 2 screws on each of these all the way in there. So hopefully we can just kind of undo these little brackets and snip them and put them back in there. It'll be a minor surgery, but you know, always something. So we're gonna keep try to snip those, and then of course you don't want to snip them too short, but that might not be even possible really. All right, so we just took the fuel pump up. Had a little loose nut there. I guess we're about to hook the fuel pump up down in there, down yonder. Ready to center the universe. Give you a visual on there. I don't know if you can see that. Nothing special. Just a Bosch fuel pump. Yeah, go for it. We put the injectors. New injectors are back on. We had a hell of a time with this weird heat dissipation shield, which we're lovingly calling the dildo because it's got some very anatomical phallic features to it. And that was a pain, because it has to get threaded over the plenum, but we actually had to loosen up a couple of these injectors and just bend them a little bit, so it would just free so much more space to get that little piece in. Put everything back on. There's not too much to put on here. There's a couple of these a couple vacuum lines, right?
Yep.
And then this is what we think is probably the lambda sensor.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I wouldn't say that publicly, but yeah, well, I don't know.
I'll say anything publicly because I don't know anything anyways. But the main thing was this. The air intake, your throttle's back on, your little doodad here. It's so cool to see a mechanical throttle. It's really fun. Should we just check the dipstick real quick, just out of curiosity? We haven't never done it. Well, we're basically getting ready to try to fire it up again after, see if all of our troubles made any difference. Actually, the oil doesn't look that dirty.
Not that bad, no.
So now we measure it when it's... Okay, I think that's all the way down in there. Well, there's definitely oil in there.
Yep, you're good.
Why is it so high?
I never really like
Dipsticks?
using dipsticks now. They're
Yeah.
you hit the side of the tube on the way down, and it's not really accurate.
Right. Ugh.
You got oil.
We got oil in there.
Oil is present.
Oil is present. That's the important thing.
Oil has color.
All right, so that was a big moment because it's like if it starts, obviously that's huge, but if it doesn't, it's like, well, now we're really perplexed as to what the issue is. Of course, the whole point was that we're just gonna turn it into accessory and see if we got any leaks before we actually fire the ignition. So that's the anticlimactic part, but obviously the safe thing to do. Where are the keys? So I'm just gonna give it one little turn. You ready?
Yep.
I don't hear the fuel pump.
Neither do I. Oh, there it is.
Anything?
I don't see any leaks, but I hear it filling. So just leave it there where it is.
Yep.
I don't see any leaks.
Boy, it's a lot of fuel.
Well,
But there was the fact there was still fuel in there when we were... Now, in theory, it should stop, right? When
it should. What it's doing is it's going back through this line to your fuel tank.
Oh, it's like a system or like a loop.
Again, I'm not really up on these archaic fuel injection systems.
Yeah.
This is all new to me.
Yeah, but you think it could just be going right back into the tank?
It is going back. I can feel it.
Yeah.
It's going back. It's
just a loop.
That's weird. I don't know how. There must be, this must be the line, yeah.
I'm gonna turn it off.
That's fine, yeah, turn it off. But we know there's fuel in there.
Yep, there's fuel. What's that? Yeah, we let it run for a good long while.
I don't see anything coming out down here, so I'm confident trying to fire it up.
Okay.
We know there's fuel to the injectors now,
Yep.
so
Go time?
yeah, let's try it.
All right. Here we got a flashlight and a fire extinguisher. Gotta have a fire extinguisher with classic cars. So, here we go. Ready?
Yep. Let it rest for a second.
Yeah. You can tell when there's not starter fluid in there though.
Yeah.
Pops and burbles.
Still gotta get fuel too. I mean, there's fuel in the fuel rail, but you still gotta get it to the. It might take a little while to get it to where it's gotta be. But actually, I should probably be checking for leaks. So I see no evidence of. Give it another 3 turns.
Yep. Oh. Give it a second.
Yep.
That was encouraging.
Yep.
Because that was no starter fluid either.
Correct. I'm smelling fuel now, which is a good sign.
Oh yeah.
Signs of leaks. Whenever you're ready. Ready?
Again. Alright.
You don't have to.
No. She's loud! Oh my god, she's loud. She's a straight header. Oh, that's unbelievable. To buy this car, I stopped drinking because I figured I would save about $1,000 a year, very conservatively. And so after 2 years, I would have enough to have a free sports car. I told Scott if I got it running, then I could have a beer. I'd have a beer with him. So, and of course, Utica Club, the Pilsner Lager, first beer brewed after Prohibition, and it actually matches the car perfectly. So that's a momentous occasion here on Janky AF. Oh, so cathartic. It's like my old friend Bobby says, it's like taking 1,000-pound duty. He used a different word, but you catch my drift. I don't know if you can hear any of this over the rumble of that car, but she's running. Now, of course, we have to deal with the fact that the clutch pedal doesn't come back anymore, and that might be a clutch master cylinder, which is, of course, the one part I didn't order that I should have. I ordered a brake master cylinder by accident. Scott's playing with his fan here. Oh my god. This is like 2.5 years. I know it's just a car and yada yada yada, but oh my god, so much anxiety and anguish, hauling it all over the place, storing it in barns with bird droppings raining down on it, you know, just like used and abused. I don't know how long, it might have been years since this, I mean it has been years, but it could be a decade since this thing ran. Look at Scott. Alright, well we're gonna keep working on it, but fuel injectors, that's what it was. Janky AF.